think I'm about to do something that I'm gonna regret. Welcome everybody to a new video. Today I'm gonna be doing my very first 24-hour readathon, and I'm so pumped for it. I am also so terrified though, and I think it's gonna be very challenging. In my mind, I'm like, I love to read. This will be such a fun time, but I'm gonna get real burnt out real quick, I'm pretty sure. But I love watching these videos, and I thought it would be so much fun just to try to do it myself because I've never done this before. So I'm so excited that you're coming to follow along for this. I hope it's successful. I hope I finish a couple books today. That's my goal. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be doing it in its, I guess, truest form, where I just start a timer for 24 hours and I just read until that timer is done. So right now it's a little bit past 8 a.m. So if I read straight for that, I'm gonna be reading until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Oh my God. Ew, it sounds scarier when you say it like that, huh? Anyway, I'm in it now. I've started making the video, so we're gonna do what we're gonna do. So I'll keep reading until the timer's up. I will be living my life a little bit during that time. Of course, I need to eat and do some things throughout the day. So I'm gonna read as much as I can during that time. Thank you so much for coming and observing what is about to happen, because I have no idea what is about to happen, but come along, enjoy the ride. Whew. All right, everybody, I have my coffee, I have my book. I am ready to go. I'm scared. I'm so scared. I'm gonna start out by reading Siege and Storm. This is the second book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I read the first one and I really liked it. I didn't love it, but I did really like it. And I wanna continue the series so that I can then jump into the Six of Crows duology, which I hear is fantastic. So I have made a little bit of progress on this. I think I'm about almost 200 pages through this. And I am not liking it as much as I liked the first one. I don't know why. There's a lot going on, and I think the plot in itself is interesting. I'm just not invested in what's going on. Maybe it's been too long since I read the first one. I don't know, but I'm gonna continue to read it just because I want to finish this trilogy so badly so I can read Six of Crows. This is what I'm starting out with. Because I'm not loving it, I might not commit to reading this a ton because I don't want to burn myself out on something that I'm not enjoying when I have 24 hours to read. So I'm gonna start by reading this and I'll catch up with you guys later. The timer is officially starting. Did it go? Yeah, it did. Okay. How funny would that be if I did that whole thing and then it didn't actually start when I did that? We're going. I just wanted to do a little 1 hour check-in with you guys. It's now at 58 minutes and I've read about 60 pages in this hour. So that's pretty good. That's about a page a minute. These books, they're pretty fast paced. Young adult books always are, where the font is really big. There's not that many words on a page and it's easy to understand. So it's just easier to read more quickly because I don't usually read a page a minute. That's just too quick for me. Right now, I'm enjoying the book a little bit more than I was previously, but it's still not something I'm loving at this point. I'm a bit over halfway. And I realized that I didn't tell you what these books are about. It's hard to explain when you're reading the second book of a series because you don't want to give anything away. So I'm going to explain kind of what the plot of the first book was and just know that this is a continuation of that. So the first book is centered around the main character, Alina, and how she discovers that she has powers. So people that have powers in this universe are called Grisha. So she discovers that she is a Grisha and she has some special powers. And in this world, the big kind of plot point is that there is something called the Void. Is that what it's called? This is something I should know. Okay, in the map it's called the Unsea, but I think there's another name for it that they say. It's not the Void, the Rift, the Veil. I don't know. There's something. It's basically this big piece of land that is just covered in like darkness, and there's all these monsters and things that live there, and they're trying to figure out how to get rid of this darkness that's there, because obviously it's very dangerous to the people that are living there, and there's worries about it growing. This book basically picks up right where the other book left off. I think this is a book series I really would have enjoyed if I had read it when I was a teenager, but I did not, because it feels young adult. It feels very young adult. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys that little check-in, and I will check in again some point. We're 2 hours in, and I'm just about to make my second cup of coffee. I think I chose a bad day to do this on because I woke up today very tired. And the fact that we are 2 hours in and I'm already exhausted, it's not a good sign. Not a good sign, but we're pushing through. The last hour, I definitely did not read as much as I did the first hour because I had to play the daily Wordle and connections. So that took a little bit of time, but I'm back at it. I'm gonna make myself a coffee. I'm gonna have a little bit of food to eat, and then I'm gonna try to hunker down and really just crack out. I probably have like a little over 100 pages left to read of my book. No, it's more than that. It's probably like 150 pages left to read of my book, but I'm gonna hunker down, and hopefully in the next 2 hours I can get that done, cracked out, and then we can move on to the next book. So that's the plan. That's what that black darkness is called. I don't know why that didn't come to me because that's such a major plot point in this. The Fold. It's called The Fold. We're now a little over 4.5 hours into this challenge. It's 1:03 p.m. and I've just finished Siege and Storm. So this is the first book that I'm checking off my list for today. Yay! I didn't love this book. I would probably give it like a 2.75, maybe a 3, but honestly 3 feels a little bit high for this. I definitely like the first one a lot more. I found the last maybe 40 pages of this were pretty good, but did it need to be over 400 pages to have the last 40 pages be good? I don't think so. I was just bored. I was bored through a lot of this. Nothing was really vibing with me at all. Like the plot itself is good. I just didn't care. I didn't care about what was going on. There also seems to be like a constant love triangle in these books that like varies with different characters. So sometimes it's a love triangle with certain people. Maybe it's like a love square where there's like more people involved the longer the story gets. But everybody just seems to just instantly fall in love with the main character. Not necessarily fall in love, but want to be involved with the main character, I guess, which is kind of weird. I'm not really looking forward to reading the third book in this. Honestly, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I might just read a summary of the last book to see what happens before I jump into Six of Crows, because I don't know if I can put myself through the third book of this when the third book I think is the longest. I think it's longer than this one. And I've just heard that it's not the best in the series, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I want to read it, but I have it, so I should read it. Anyway, I'm glad that this is done because this was on my February TBR. So I did get to check something off of my TBR for this month. Anyway, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break just to make myself some lunch because all I've eaten today is a banana and 2 coffees, and that's obviously not the best thing for me. And then I'm going to see what I'm gonna read after that. I'm gonna think about what I want after this. I might do a romance since this was a fantasy, but we'll see. I'm back, I am fed, I am ready for another little reading sprint. So I have 2 books that I'm kind of in between right now. I have Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. This is the first book in her Gold Rush Ranch series. So this is what released before her Chestnut Spring series. I finished Hopeless earlier this month, which is the last book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I loved that series so much. So when I was on vacation earlier in February, I started reading this. I'm about 55, I think, % of the way through this book. Hey, Murphy, you want to say hi? He's like, not really, but. So I'm about 55% of the way through this. So this would be, it's quick, it's easy. I think I could fly through the rest of this. But I was looking at what I have on my TBR for February, and I did see The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid on there. And this is something I'm really interested to read because I've heard such great things about it. This is more, I think it's a contemporary fiction. And I think this is set in the 80s, similar to some of her other books at Carrie Soto is Back and Malibu Rising. I think are in kind of the same world as this, but they're all totally standalones. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this up, and since I'm starting this book fresh, I'm going to read this for a while, and then when I need a little bit of a break, I think I'm going to pick up Off to the Races after that. So that's what we're going to do. That is the plan. I'm going to hold this the right way up. Okay, we can do this. Page 26 of The 7 Husbands, and I really like Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing. So I've read 2 of her books already. This will be the 3rd that I've read, and the writing is just like flawless. She really just kind of does her research on the atmosphere, and she really just brings the characters to life. So when you're reading this, it's like I'm 26 pages in. I barely know these people, but they already seem like such real complex characters, and you just get all that atmosphere from her word choices. Oh my gosh, I've read 4 Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. Okay, this is my 4th Taylor Jenkins Reid book. And I guess other than Daisy Jones and the 6, that one was pretty plot driven, but everything else, it just feels more character driven than anything, and you're reading it because of the characters, and this one is no different, where I'm just like immediately interested in these characters and their lives, and the plot itself is not that in depth. Basically, well, I mean, I've read 26 pages. I don't know if down the road it's going to be more in depth, but right now it's about a reporter. It's now 2017. And this reporter is contacted by Evelyn Hugo, and Evelyn Hugo wants her to write her life story. And she's had quite a dramatic life story. You know, she was a Hollywood star. She's had 7 husbands, all of which have passed away, which, like, suspicious. And that's it. But just her character already, she's very direct, very aloof. You could just kind of see who she is as a person right off the bat, and it's all very interesting. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm reading it a bit slower because the pages are pretty dense, so I think I'll read this for a bit longer, and then I'll probably switch over to the romance book, Off to the Races, just for a change of pace, basically. So I think I might be losing a little bit of steam. I'm still reading The 7 Husbands. I'm on page 60 right now. I haven't looked at the timer in so long. I don't know what time we're at. Let's see. Okay, we're currently at 7 hours. So we are making progress. This book is definitely a little bit slower than the other book that I was reading, but I am really enjoying it. Like I said, Taylor Jenkins Reid's, her writing is just something else. Like, it's just really good. I highlighted one part of this book because I felt like it just really spoke to who Evelyn Hugo is and is going to be as a character. I never ever highlight things in any of my books. So this was just something that I was like, ooh, I need to like highlight this and then give you guys this quote. So this is very early on. This isn't a spoiler or anything, but I just think that this line, it just shows who she is and kind of like the spunk that Evelyn Hugo has. So the quote is, she's basically talking to the reporter who's going to be writing her biography. And she says, when you're given an opportunity to change your life, be ready to do whatever it takes to make it happen. The world doesn't give things, you take things. And I just thought, ooh, like that's going to be good. I really like the book so far. It's interesting. It's kind of broken up into like different sections of her husbands. So I finished section 1, which was her first husband, and now I'm moving on to section 2, which is her second husband. And I think each husband is going to kind of signify like a different time in her life. And then there's this overarching theme as you're reading through of like, who did Evelyn Hugo actually love? Because this is obviously a lot of husbands. She did not love them all. You know, who actually captured this socialite, this Hollywood star, who captured her heart. So I think my plan is to read it till about a page 100. And then I think I'm going to flip over to Off to the Races after that. And then at some point tonight, I do need to run out and get some groceries. So I'm going to try to do that a little bit later. Hi guys, I'm back. I have a little bit of a confession. It's now 6:48, which means that our timer is at 10 hours and 21 minutes. So we're getting on into the evening. I did take, maybe like an hour and a half break because I had to go get some groceries and I did a little bit of Pilates just in the apartment. And that did take a little longer than I anticipated, but I'm making good progress on Seven Husbands. I did read up to page 100 on this and I'm really liking it so far. It's one of those books that when I'm reading it, I'm not really looking at the page number. I'm really just like enveloped. Is that the right word? Involved. I am really immersed. I'm really immersed in the story and in the world. So I'm not really checking where I'm at, and I'm really enjoying that. But I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna swap over and read a little bit of Off to the Races, just to switch it up a little bit. While I was out at the grocery store, I got an energy drink. I can't speak. Why can I not speak? Words are so hard. I got an energy drink while I was there because I did anticipate me hitting a very hard lull tonight. I actually do feel like I have more energy now than I did earlier in the day, so I don't know what's happening there. I'm anticipating as we go on throughout the evening, it's gonna get a little bit more challenging. So I have an energy drink to help me if I need it. I don't generally drink energy drinks, but this might be an exception. I'm going to continue to read Off to the Races now. This book, I did say it was the first book in the Gold Rush Ranch series by Elsie Silver. Basically what this is it circles around a family that owns I don't know what you would call it, but a farm maybe? A stable. They own a stable. That's probably a better word. And they train horses for racing. You have our main character who was involved. He's one of the people that has the ownership of the farm. And then you have one of the trainers who's our female main character. I can't remember either of their names off the top of my head right now. And they are kind of butt heads initially. They do not get along. They get off to a really bad foot initially when they first meet. And now you're at the point where, of course, they're starting to develop feelings for one another. No spoilers there. We all kind of know that happens in romance books, or else it wouldn't be a romance book. I'm only about 50% of the way through, so I am waiting for the other shoe to fall really with this. I feel like there's going to be a third act breakup. There have been in a lot of Elsie Silver's books, and I'm not a huge fan of those, but I know there has to be some kind of a conflict or else there's really no point in having a book. I'm gonna get on to that and we'll see how much of that I get read. This is a quick book to read though, so I should make some good progress fairly quickly. We just hit the halfway point for this challenge. Well, we hit it 24 minutes ago, but I didn't see that. But it is now over halfway done. We're now at 12 hours and 24 minutes and counting. So we're basically in the home stretch, right? It's 8:52 p.m. and I feel like the challenge should be done now, but I still have 11 and a half hours to go. And that is insanity. I've been reading Off to the Races. I am 86% of the way done this book, so it's getting there. So according to my Kindle, that means I only have 32 minutes left to read. So realistically by 9:30, I should be done this book. That'll be the second book that I finished. And then I will hop back into The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and make some progress there. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling optimistic. I don't feel like I need the energy drink. I think I'm going to crush this challenge. Even if you just ignore every way that I failed it already, then I'm crushing it. I'm doing great. Amazing. Home stretch for this book, not for the challenge. I just finished Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. It was a good book. I did really enjoy it. I think it's gonna be about a 3-star for me. I just find Elsie Silver's writing is just so easy to read. It's so fast paced and it's just cute. They're all really cute books. I think this book, I don't know if it was her debut novel or not, but I think it might have been. It was probably my least favorite out of all the books that I've read by her so far, but I still really did like it. I think everything in the Chestnut Spring series I gave a 4-star or above. This one was a 3 to like a 3.25, somewhere in that range, where I still really liked it. I had a good time reading it, but the characters and the romance, it just didn't hit as hard as the Chestnut Spring series did, but it is totally one of her earlier books. I will definitely be continuing the series. I love that they're all set in Canada. As a Canadian girly myself, it's just nice to have books set in the country that you're from. And in Canada, we don't get that very often. So I love that she's a Canadian author. We are almost at hour 13 now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up The Seven Husbands again and read a little bit of that, make a little bit of headway. I feel myself slowing down a little bit now. I might have made a bad move. I'm in bed. I'm 15 hours in. I took my makeup off and brushed my teeth and got on my pajamas and then got into bed. We all see what's about to happen, right? I am delusional. I'm telling myself I'm not going to sleep. I'm not doing it. But we all can see, right? We have brains and eyes and we know what's about to happen. But I'm telling myself, I'm going to be here and I'm going to read some more of Evelyn Hugo. I'm about 150 pages in now, which is like almost halfway. I'm going to try to at least get a little bit more done of this and read as long as I possibly can tonight. Worst case, I'm going to really try to read at least a bit tomorrow morning as well. So I've made the fateful error, I've made the fatal error of getting in bed. Notice a couple things. First of all, the lighting has suddenly changed, and unfortunately it does mean exactly what you think it means. It is now morning and I did fall asleep. I managed to read up until the 16-hour mark, which I think brought me to about 1 o'clock, and then I simply could not. I was laying there in bed and my eyes were closing. I made it to page 196 of The Seven Husbands. I did get up early though. So I have about an hour of reading left before I hit the 24-hour mark. So right now we're at 22 hours, what does that say, and 57 minutes. So I'm gonna read as much as I can in the next hour. I'm anticipating maybe reading another 50 pages or so. This isn't getting done in the 24-hour time period. My eyes are so tired. It's only 7:25 a.m. I did get up and I made myself a coffee, and I need it. I need that coffee. Let's go. Let's do this. It's safe to say that I did fail this challenge. I definitely did not read for the full 24 hours straight. I did a couple errands yesterday. I went to sleep last night, but I think I was successful in a lot of other ways. I did finish 2 books in this 24-hour time span, and I made a really big dent in a 3rd book. So I just wanted to do a little recap on what I read over the last 24 hours. Thank you guys for following along that devastation that happened. The first book that I finished was Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This was a low 3 stars. I think it's really like a 2.5. I've come to the decision I'm not going to continue this series. I'm just going to look up spoilers and maybe like a plot summary for the 3rd book, and then I'm going to jump into Six of Crows afterwards. I didn't like this book at all. I think that the 3rd book is just going to be more of the same, and I just don't want to spend my time reading this when I have so many other books that I really want to read. I see why people like this, and I think especially for a younger audience, this is a very well done fantasy. It just wasn't for me. Wasn't my thing. Didn't really care what was going on. 2.5. I'm sorry. If you love it, this is nothing against you. If you love it, great. I love that for you. If you love it. But we did not share mutual love for each other. Glad I read it. Off the physical TBR. Then on my Kindle, I no longer have it here, but we're gonna pretend it's still here. I've already returned it to Amazon, but I read Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. I just love Elsie Silver's writing so much. If you haven't read any of her books and you love like small town romances, I would really recommend that you jump on the Elsie Silver train. This book was my least favorite out of all the books that I've read by her, but I still had such a good time reading it. If you want something that's just gives you butterflies, a little bit spicy as well. If you don't like spice, you're not gonna like her books. They are not overwhelmingly spicy, but they definitely have their scenes. I love this. I gave it a 3 stars. This is just like a feel-good 3-star book. I didn't love the characters as much as I loved in her other books. However, the female main character in this did have a lot of spunk, and I really appreciated that. The next book is going to be about Violet and Cole, and Violet is the sister of the Eaton brothers from the Chestnut Spring series. I'm going to be so excited to see those kind of like tied together, to see her more as a character and maybe get some more information and background on her family. Because if you've read the Chestnut Spring series, you know the Eaton brothers are holy. They're holy. I don't have a better word to explain them, and I think that sums it up. The 3rd book is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I made it to page 269 in this, so I think I have about 100 pages left to read. I am thoroughly enjoying this book so far. Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing is truly in its own category. I'm feeling a 4.5 out of this. I don't think I've given any of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books 5 stars, just because for me, there's something that always feels like it's missing. And I think that is because these books are just kind of general fiction. I don't know the different categories of fiction: contemporary, general, women's fiction. I don't know. It's a fiction. So there's no fantasy. It's not heavy on romance. And I think that's it, is it's just not my typical genre. So I feel like it's missing something, but I think if you really love reading general fiction, you will love this. Like, the whole premise of this is about her 7 husbands and her kind of evolving her life through becoming a Hollywood star, a socialite, but it's not really a romance. I definitely wouldn't categorize it as a romance. It's following her, and she just feels like I know her. I feel like she is my friend. So as I mentioned, they're kind of doing this interview as she's telling the story to a journalist to get a biography written. And there's a theme of like, why did Evelyn Hugo choose this specific journalist to write about her? Because this journalist was kind of a nobody, didn't have any connections with Evelyn Hugo, but Evelyn Hugo specifically wanted her to write it. And like no ifs, ands, or buts, demanded that she would be the one to write it. So I'm excited to figure out why. There's also some good representation and things in this book that I didn't expect. So that was a pleasant little surprise. So that's it. 24 hours later, these are the books that I finished slash am in the process of finishing. I had a lot of fun doing my first 24-hour readathon, so thanks for following along through this. I think I definitely will do more in the future. I feel okay today. I don't know how it would affect me if I did a full 24 hours straight. I hope nobody's disappointed that I did go to sleep, but I just needed to. I was fading. I was fading very quickly. If you liked this video, give it a like and maybe a little subscribe. And if there's any videos that you guys want to see in the future, let me know. Drop a comment below. But I had a lot of fun, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.